Hello everybody and welcome back to the search for acidic grapes. In today's episode of Search for Silver we have a $100 box of nickels that we're going to be going through looking for silver, but of course we'll also pull out anything else interesting that we find along the way. Now of course any silver nickels that we find today are going to be between 1942 and 1945. These were the years that they made them out of 35% silver. And if we're lucky to find one or two of these war nickels today, I will be adding it to the silver bag. The silver bag, of course, is a bag which contains all of the silver that I've found coin roll hunting over the past few years, and we will be writing it down in this book, which I use to keep track of every piece of silver that goes into that bag. Now, if you've been following the series for a long time, you probably noticed that the silver bag has gotten a little bit lighter, and the book has changed. I have some highlighted things. I'm going to go over all of that in the end, and we're going to take a look at how I've changed things up, how I account for these different things. So if you're one of those diehard fans and you've been following the series for a long time, make sure to stick to the end of the video where I will be explaining everything that I'm doing and sort of what I want to do with the series moving forward. Now, if this is the first episode that you've seen of the Search for Silver, I highly recommend that you check out the playlist right here. This will link you to the first season. We're actually on our second season now. So now, without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into this box of nickels. So a lot of you might be thinking, Quinn, you haven't done a Search for Silver video in like 5 months. What is so special about this box that makes you want to bring it into the Search for Silver series? Well guys, as you know, I like to look at the enders on the box before I begin, and actually I looked at the enders in this box and there are some incredible enders. So let's start off with this one because this is probably the best one in the entire box. It is a 1949, you can see it right there on the face, Canadian nickel, and as you may know, this means that that is going to be a King George VI nickel. I've never found one of these ever, and I do a lot of nickel roll hunting, but I have never found a King George VI nickel. So when I pull this out, you're going to see what I'm talking about on the obverse side. This is actually the reverse with the beaver, but you can see 1949. This is made of 99.9% nickel. I am super stoked about that showing up on the end, but actually that's not it. There's actually a whole bunch of older looking ones on the end, so I'm thinking that we might have stumbled onto a good batch, and I think we have a good chance of finding silver. One more thing that I wanted to show you, this was kind of strange. We have some sort of a deformed coin here, which looks like it's cut through the edge of that roll right there. So I'm actually going to open up this roll and this one live. I'm actually going to start with this one right now. So we're going to pull that out because I want to show you what that looks like there. So it is a King George VI nickel. We'll check to see if we have any coloring here. Actually, we may have. I like to look at the edges of these because sometimes you can tell by the edge if you have a war nickel in there. So this one actually is showing some promising signs. Nope, that's actually not going to be anything. You can be fooled for sure, but actually guys, check this out. I didn't even know that this would look like this. If you look at the edge of it, it actually has, it's like a 12-sided coin, I believe, something like that. You can count the sides and let me know if I'm wrong in the comments there, but there you have it, a 1949 Canadian nickel, and as we flip it here, you're going to see King George VI right there on the back. Like I said, I've never found one of these in my almost 2 years of coin roll hunting nickels. So that is just an awesome find and an ender nonetheless. So very cool find right there. It's not silver. It's actually made of 99.9% nickel. People do keep nickel though, so I'm definitely going to keep that one. That is a very cool find. And if you're up in Canada coin roll hunting, I assume that you probably pull these out as well because there aren't tons of these left in circulation. So, all right, I will get through the rest of this roll and let you know if I find anything else. If not, we will get on to the next one and see if we can get some silver out. All right, so the rest of that roll didn't have anything else in it that was particularly interesting to me. I think the oldest coin I saw was a 1961 American. Of course, we got that 1949 King George VI, so you definitely can't beat that. I'm gonna go ahead and jump into this next roll here because I just want to see what this is live with you guys. I have no idea what that could be. It could be an old coin, it could be just a messed up parking lot coin, but whatever it is, it's poking through the edge there, and actually it looks like it's may have been in the ground or something. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out now here. I'll bring it up to show you guys what it looks like in the roll. It does look a little bit different, so I am not sure what this is gonna be. Okay, so it looks like it was just probably put under a tire and like smeared in the parking lot or something. It is a modern coin though. It's a 1985. Possibly found metal detecting just by the way that coin looks. Just looking at the edges of these coins, I don't see anything that looks like it could be a war nickel. So I'm just going to go ahead and get through the rest of this roll and once again let you know if I find anything. If not, I'll just get on to the next one and let you know the first thing that I find that's really cool. All right, let's get into the rest of these rolls. All right, so we are just 4 rolls in now. Haven't found a whole lot, but we did just find one coin, and it's time to play one of my favorite games with the nickels right here. This came out reverse side up, and as you can see down on the right side there, there's a tiny little S, which means that this coin was minted in San Francisco. Now, they stopped making nickels for regular circulation in San Francisco in 1955, so that means that this coin is 1954 or older. The other cool thing about this is that the San Francisco coins are actually usually the rarest ones to find, so we have a good chance at finding something nice here. So I'm going to flip this over in 3, 2, 1. And the date is 1952 San Francisco. So I don't believe that's the most rare San Francisco coin that you can find, but definitely a cool find, and I will definitely take that right now. Another one of the coins that I found was another Canadian here. This is a much newer one. It's a 1984, and these are actually not made of nickel. They're made of copper, and I believe some nickel, but mostly copper. So all right, guys, let's get on to the next roll, and hopefully we find some silver. All right, so that next roll produced two nice oldies for us. They're both pretty common, but definitely cool to pull out. I like to keep anything before 1960, so this first one that came out is a 1957, and it is a Denver. You can see the mint mark right there. And then this one here, it is a plain, and it's a 1946. So 1946, very, very common to pull out, especially the plain. But two nice older coins right there out of the same roll. I'll definitely take that. So we just had another great roll with two nice old finds. We'll start with this one, and it's actually the oldest one that we found so far. Definitely one of the oldest in the Jefferson nickel series as well. 1941 plain. So that is a pretty common coin. I think they come in at a pretty high mintage. Oh yeah, 203 million of those. And then we also got a 1954 Denver. So that I think is going to be a little bit lower. I'm just going to check my book here real quick. 1954 Denver is at 117 million. So those are both pretty common coins. I did want to say something though. I actually misspoke a little bit about this 1952S that I found earlier. I said that that wasn't going to be a super low mintage, but it's actually only at 20 million minted, so that's pretty low mintage for the nickels. Definitely the lowest mintage of all the coins that we found so far. Guys, I gotta say, I miss doing nickels. I've been doing pennies for a long time. It's awesome to get back into these nickels. I'm super excited to see what these rolls bring, because there's already been some really good stuff just in the first 10 rolls. Oh, and I think a little earlier, I didn't think this was worth filming, but I did find another one of those 54 Denvers. So another 117 million coin right there. We got about 40 rolls to go. Hopefully there's some silver in there, and we're gonna find it if there is. Let's keep going. All right, guys, so I found a ton of stuff since I've last turned on the camera. Nothing too big until right now. I just saw this one. You can see the date side came up first, and this is gonna beat out that 1941, which we found earlier for the oldest coin so far. That is a 1939 Jefferson nickel. Now, the plain dates on these are very common. They come in at really high mintage. I can't remember exactly what it is. It is, what is it, 120 million. So actually a very common coin to find if it's plain, but we're gonna find out if we have a mint mark on this when we flip it over in 3, 2, 1. Please be a mint mark. No, so nothing there. Just another common 1939, but definitely cool to find these out of the 30s, because these didn't actually start minting until 1938. So only 38 and 39 are the 1930s Jeffersons. Anything before that would be a Buffalo nickel. So going through the rest of this roll, I did see that we have another Canadian right there, which actually has some, looks like rust on it almost, but it's a 2004. One of the newer ones. I actually found a 2000 a little bit earlier, which has a slightly different design on the back there. And then just to show you the rest of the ones that I found since I turned on the camera last, we have a 57. This one is a 41, and then here we have a 58. So this box is just loaded with the pre-60s coins, as well as Canadians. I've already found 4 Canadians, one of them being that King George VI. So definitely a lot of good stuff to find in this box. I can't even keep track of all the different coins that we're finding. So I'm definitely excited to see what else we have in here. Hopefully we get a Buffalo at least. That would be very cool to see. All right, let's get on to the rest of these. All right, guys, I have been on a serious dry streak, probably for the past 10 rolls or so. I have hardly found anything, just like a 57 and a 41 or something. Oh, a 58. Not much going on, but I just got into this roll and I looked at the color of those edges. You can see there's 2 nice ones right there, and I checked both of them. I took a peek, so I already know what's in there. Can you guys guess which one is going to be the Silver War nickel? All right, let's check this one first. So that is not it. That is just a slightly toned 1985. Which means this right here, take a look at that color. You want to remember that, because that's going to be a nice indication right there. Check this out, guys. Already took a peek at it. 1943, that means it has to be a silver war nickel. And sure enough, we flip it over to the back, and there is the mint mark up above the Monticello. So 1943p, the most common war nickel, but it's 35% silver, and that is what we're looking for. Yes, guys, I'm so stoked to get that. We're just a little bit over halfway, so there may be another one in there. We have a good chance. But 1943, Philadelphia. It's been a while since I found one, mostly because I just haven't hunted nickels in a long time. I just dropped it and lost it there. But that's what they look like, guys. They have the mint mark right above the Monticello like that. There was only 3 years that they did that, and it was during the wartime, so that sets them apart pretty obviously. So that is awesome. We definitely already have that one in the book. Like I said, it is the most common silver war nickel that you can find. But super happy to have that. We'll definitely be adding it to the silver total. And why don't I go ahead and just look through the rest of this roll since I got the camera on already. And we'll see if there is anything else in there. I don't think there's going to be another war nickel. Generally, when I find the war nickels, I am able to pick them out from the edge of the coin. Oh, there's something right there. We just got a 1957. Check the backside. Yep, it's a Denver. That's the more common case right there. So there's one of those. But like I was saying, you don't usually find war nickels unless you actually, they're very obvious from the edge generally. But that is going to be it for that roll. So we will get on to the next one. Like I said, we're a little more than halfway through. Hopefully we find something else, and I would really love to find a buffalo. Please, coin roll hunting gods. All right, let's get into the rest of it. All right, so quite a few rolls later, and I just came across a coin that I wanted to check out with you guys. This is the first of this date that I've seen out of this box so far. It is a 1949, and there's actually a variety on this date. There's a D over S, or is it S over D? It's D over S. So we're going to flip it over and see what we have for a mint mark. And actually, if we get the 1949 S, that's under 10 million minted, so a very rare coin right there. Let's see what we get in 3, 2, 1. Nothing. So it is plain. 1949 plain comes in at just 60 million, so it's sort of in the middle between rare and very common. So we will put that to the side. I wanted to show you one coin that I found a little bit earlier. This was a 1947, and it actually looked like, for a split second, I thought that was going to be a war nickel. It just has that look to it. And I saw the 4, so I thought, this might be a war nickel, but it is not. Just 1947. It's not a 1942, just a 1947. So there we go. We got a whole bunch more actually in the past few rolls, just not really worthy of filming. But we'll go ahead and get through the rest of this roll just to see if there is anything else in here. It would be great to find something like another one of those old Canadian nickels, or maybe a 1938. Those don't come up very often at all. But it looks like that is going to be it for that roll, except for this buffalo right here, which some of you guys like to keep. These are the 2005s, just to clear up any confusion on that. And as you can see, it's a very shiny coin, very new coin, not really worth anything over face value unless you can find one of the errors on it, which I'm sure many of you have heard about. But anyways, guys, we got about 15 more rolls to go. We're gonna go ahead and get into that and see what else we can find. So we got about 10 rolls to go, and I just made a really nice find, one of the last coins in this roll that I just looked through. This is an excellent condition 1939, so I'm going to be happy with that regardless of the mint mark on the back. But if this has a mint mark, man, I am going to freak out. So let's check this in 3, 2, 1. So no mint mark, it looks like, but like I said, that is an excellent shape for a coin of that age. I'm looking at the steps because that is one of the ways that you can sort of determine what's the grade on a Jefferson nickel, but it doesn't look like there are any steps there left on the Monticello, so still a very nice condition coin. You can still see some of the hair up in Jefferson's head there, which is usually one of the first things to go, so that is a good sign. Still has some luster on it, nice shiny coin, 1939. That is so awesome, guys. So like I said, guys, we got 10 more rolls to go. We're going to get into those and hopefully find some more cool stuff. Alright, so we're sort of in the middle of this roll right here. Saw a couple of things that caught my eye. This was the first one. It is a 1947, and when we flip it over, we'll see that there is an S mint mark on that. So that's a pretty low mintage coin right there. Only 24 million of those made. Very cool to see. And then I saw another older looking one right here. I think this is going to be an oldie. It definitely has the look to it. It doesn't have any mint mark on the back, but we'll flip it over and see what we got here. Yep, 1951. Now actually, the 50s, 51, 52, those are all pretty rare. So actually, yeah, look at that. 28.5 million on that one right there. So two very, not the easiest coins to find. Of course, not the hardest either, but in the 20 millions on the mintage for both of those, and they were right next to each other in the same roll. Very cool to see that. Maybe there's another one in here. And I see two D's right there. They don't look like they have the best potential, but there's two D's on the back. That means they're at least 1964, so we'll flip that one over there. Yep, that one's a 64, and that one is also a 64. That happens sometimes. Those 64s are like the enemy of all nickel roll hunters. So I just got through the last roll of that box of nickels. As you can see, that is the end of the box. Pulled a few interesting things out of the last roll though. First thing that I wanted to show you was this 1959. Like I said, I pull anything out before 1960, and this one's in pretty good shape as well. Actually not as good as that 39 earlier though. There were two Canadians out of this roll, which was pretty interesting to see. And actually I'll show you how many we got out of the entire box. That's a 98, but this one's pretty cool. You could sort of tell just by the way it shines, and I've been doing this for a while, so I can tell anything before 1982 in the Canadians is made of 99.9% nickel, and as you can see, this one is a 1972, so that one is a nickel Canadian nickel, however you want to say that. But that's about it for that roll, guys. So why don't we go ahead and jump into the wrap up, and then we'll total up the silver and see what we got. Alright, so what a great box of nickels this was. Tons of cool stuff to find. We'll start up here. These are sort of the common coins. This is how I lay them out. Here's all of the 40s. And then we have the 50s, actually a bunch of the same dates, 53, 54, 57, and 58 in line. Here are all the Canadians. This is probably one of the most Canadian-infested boxes, like I like to say, that we've had so far, but hey, it's not all bad. These are the copper ones. Here is a nickel one right there, so that is nice to find. It's hard to find the ones before 1981. And then over here we have some of the less common American nickels that we found. We got a 39. This is a really nice 39. That is the 52S, I believe. And then we have a few of the 60s. You know, we're not going to leave the 60s out. We got 61, 62, and 59. I keep these just because they're in nice shape. And then for the most premium, probably the best finds out of the box today, 1947S right there, a 1951 plain. And then of course we have that awesome ender right there, the King George VI Canadian 1949 nickel. And then of course this is the search for silver, so we're going to go ahead and end on the 1943 Philadelphia nickel, 35% silver, worth about $1 in silver in today's silver prices. So why don't we go ahead and take that and put it into the silver bag. We'll count it down, and I'll let you guys know how that looks in just a second. So there you go, guys. I just made the entry into the silver book right there. War nickel, one of them at 0.0561 troy ounces. Here it is right here, the silver war nickel that we found from today's box. And we're going to go ahead and take the silver bag, which is right here, and drop it in. And once we do that, I'm going to go ahead and show you what the contents of this bag are. As you probably noticed, it got a little bit lighter than what you may have remembered from previous episodes. That is because what I've done is I've removed all of the silver that I bought, and I decided to just make the silver bag for silver that I've found in circulation. So actually all of these entries that you see here that are highlighted are entries that I have found in circulation. Everything else was either bought or given to me as a gift. So this was the first entry that I made of things that I found. I found 11 war nickels in probably 10 or 12 boxes, something like that. And so I decided to put that down there. So that was about almost, a little over a half of a troy ounce of silver right there. And then the next one, we found some 40% silver halves and some more war nickels. And mostly I was doing nickels and halves at the time, so that's why you see those entries in there. All of this stuff I bought. Up here now, this is where I started to account for the things that I didn't account for in the past. So I did a lot of hunting off camera, and I found a whole bunch of war nickels. This was, I think, the very last episode of the half dollars that I've done. I haven't done half dollars in like a year now, but I was able to find some Franklin halves and some 40%ers. And then I found some war nickels here and there. These are all for unaccounted war nickels that I found without actually doing it on camera. And then here is our entry for today. So why don't we go ahead and take the bag and actually spill out these contents here. And basically what this is, guys, this is all of the silver that I have found Quin roll hunting in the past probably year and a half. Now of course some of it actually went into the collections. Most of these are going to be 40%ers, as you can see, and like I said, I haven't done half dollars in a long time, but I did find a couple of Benjamin Franklins. That was a really cool thing to find. Most of it is war nickel though, as you can see. So that is pretty much everything that I have. Anything that you see that is highlighted, I actually have found coin roll hunting. As you can see here though, it says other coin roll hunting finds that didn't make it into the bag. All the 40%ers in the 1964 that are in my Kennedy $50 collection were actually found in circulation as well. So you could add all of these, the 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, and 69. Those were all found coin roll hunting as well. They just happened to go to a different place. I also found a Roosevelt dime that went into the collection rather than into the bag. And then I think, oh yes, this was probably one of my favorite silver finds right here. It's 1967 special mint set Kennedy $50. So that was too special to put into the silver bag. But basically guys, this is all the silver that I found over the past year and a half of doing the Search for Silver videos and a little bit of coin roll hunting on my own. So like I said, this is the final episode of Search for Silver Season 2, and with that I have some news for you. If you made it this far in the video, that means that you're a die-hard fan of the Search for Silver series, and I have to say I really appreciate your support. I've been making Search for Silver videos for the past year and a half, and I have had a ton of fun doing it. Now I know this is going to come as bad news to some of you, but we are not going to be continuing Search for Silver, so this is the last episode of Search for Silver that you will see. So yes, this is the end of Search for Silver, and I know for some of you that's going to come as bad news. But the good news is the end of Search for Silver means the beginning of another new series. I'm not exactly sure what it's going to be yet, but you can plan on something coming up very soon. If you feel strongly about what you'd like me to do in the future in a different series, go ahead and leave your suggestions and ideas down in the comments below. I'll definitely be reading through all of those and take them into consideration when I'm formulating the new series that's coming up soon. So with that, thank you so much for all of your support on all of the Search for Silver videos. I've had a ton of fun doing them. Honestly, the Search for Silver was one of the huge factors into pushing my channel forward into the coin roll hunting community and turning my channel into this coin roll hunting channel, which all of you enjoy and which I enjoy making videos for. So yeah, it's sad to see it go, but I'm also very excited for what the future holds. Thank you to everybody who has supported the Search for Silver series over the years. I could not have done this without you. Now, if you want to go back and rewatch all of the episodes of Search for Silver, or if you want to see them for the first time if you haven't already, Search for Silver Season 1 will be up here, and down here I'll put Search for Silver Season 2. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to go down below and leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, because I post new videos like this every single week, always bringing you along with the hunts and having a good time. And as always guys, I'm Quinn, and this is Quinn's Coins signing out, and I will see you in the next one.